All right, so here we have our chickweed. Chickweed is a very nutrient dense plant. It is moist, it likes cool temperatures, it's moon energy, it's feminine energy. And this little plant here packs a lot of punch. It is super good for lymphatic, for weight loss, for any kind of inflammation, gout. Um, you know, Rosemary Gladstar had mentioned if you drink a chickweed infusion every single day that you will have optimal health, or something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but it was something like that. And it is true. However, chickweed is one of those plants that, again, for me is really hard to ingest. I just can't stand the flavor at all, to be honest, because it tastes like grass. However, I know it is so good for me and I really, really do need it. So I will kind of force myself to drink not an infusion, but a tisane. So a tisane is going to be a shorter steep time, and it's not going to pull out as many of the constituents, but you're still going to have the health benefits. So I put chickweed with other I guess for lack of a better term, the weight loss herbs like hibiscus and lemongrass. Those tend to help mask the flavor enough for me that I can handle it if I add honey or something like that. Now, the flower essence is another really important. uh, if you run hot, if you're a hot person, chickweed is definitely for you. If you are a pitta in Ayurvedic, then chickweed is probably a good herb for you. But the flower essence is to cool anger and irritability, reconsider what you need emotionally, and help those who have a hard time recognizing that they overextend themselves. Um, it's not calling me out, is it? So every year I tell myself just get a little bit more chickweed in your body. And this year I am going to make sure that I do that, especially with the flower essence, but making that combination of hibiscus and lemongrass. We have to buy our hibiscus because well, it doesn't grow here. I mean, you can grow dinner plate hibiscus, and then Rose of Sharon is in the hibiscus family, but we don't grow the hibiscus, the bright red hibiscus. So we try to buy it. We've had to change companies a few times, so we just try to buy it organically, and if it's out of the country, fair trade type of thing. So just be mindful of where you get the hibiscus. The lemongrass is actually going to be in your CSA, but if that's something that you want to do for this particular, for this, just let me know. I have an abundance of lemongrass, and I was actually going to include that in one of your guys' bags anyway, just because Phil grew so much of it, and he will again this year. You'll have plenty later on, but if you need some dried for now. Now, when you're drying your chickweed, I've kind of gotten off the subject here, but bear with me. I will show you how to process this. My suggestion is go ahead and dry it because it is a very watery plant. You can certainly use it fresh. It's going to come with the soil, but this is what it's going to look like dried. It ends up just kind of looking really small and powdery, and you can use the whole plant. So don't worry about it. You're not having to pick off the leaves here. Just go ahead and use the whole plant. But it's going to come with clumps of dirt stuck to it. That's what's going to keep it moist and fresh for you. And, well, I was trying to get a little section, but that's not going to work without making everything messy here. Now, a lot of times I do this outside. So actually in the field where it is, so that I leave some of the root, and that way it will just go ahead and continue to grow there. But since you guys are getting this particular one for CSA, I'm leaving the dirt on so that it keeps it moist. But basically what I do is I just cut it at the base where the root is, and then I pick out any dirt or bits. There's going to probably be some leaves in here because this is in a dirt pile that we've been using for compost, and it just grows. Well, we don't use it as compost. It was dirt that Phil initially was throwing some compost material like leaves on it and flipping it, and then the chickweed decided to grow there. So now it's a great source of chickweed for us. But once you cut off the dirt and pick out any leaves, then you're just gonna have these green parts, and you can just lay them out to dry, put them on your dehydrator, and when they're dry, put them in your jar. And then you can use them for, like I said, the tisanes. Now, if you want to do an infusion, you can make that into a switchel, and you've got the recipe for the switchel too. Adding that lemon apple cider vinegar definitely makes it a lot easier. I still taste the chickweed. It is so prevalent to me. Whereas I know other people who are like, oh, I love the taste of chickweed. So I think it's funny because a lot of times when something tastes really good, you really, really need it. But I think in my case, because I'm always resisting what is good for me, I'm not outing myself at all, but I think that that's one of the reasons I have such a resistance to chickweed, is because I really need it and I just don't drink it enough. But anyway, I am gonna get better about using this plant. Fresh, I actually don't mind it as much as I do in a tisane. So maybe that's the key thing, is I need to actually start using it fresh. You'll have to figure out what is going to be the best way for you to use this plant. I suggest trying it in multiple different forms. Worst case scenario, if you absolutely can't stand it and you need it, make a tincture.